Hi, it's Lori, and I am here with Mindi, CNY Woman. No, what's the new channel name?
CNY Woman Enjoys Yarn Therapy.
Enjoys Yarn Therapy. And yes, if you ever watch her channel, it's yarn therapy for you too, for the viewer. This calming, relaxing, very chill vibes.
Yep.
So Mindi and I were chatting. We definitely met on a Camille's live in the chat for sure. And then because she knits and crochets, Mindi does. It's good because then we can. So sorry. I thought I was going to yawn, but I didn't. That's good. We were interested in that, and then she mentioned that she had a channel and that she does donation blankets, and so then we started watching her. And I'm going to let Mindi talk a little bit about her side of that interaction with how we met.
Yeah. I started watching Camille maybe a year ago, I think, and really didn't participate in the chat, and then you go, hi, and then she's like, hi, how are you? What's going on? And then I'm like, okay, I can actually talk to somebody and share about my project or whatever, or ask for a question. And then other people started to talk to me too, like you.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay, this is what interaction is.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And I liked the way she did her lives, with over the shoulder. And I had been thinking about maybe going live. I did a couple head-on lives, and the problem I had was, frankly, I couldn't see the chat on my phone.
That's fair.
I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I bought myself a phone holder from Amazon for like $20, figured out how to screw the little, goose lamp.
Oh, it's the goose lamp type, not like this where it's just a holder.
Yeah, it goes around your neck and then you.
Oh, that one. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and that's all I do. And I sit on my couch and I just crochet, and I would be crocheting anyways. So that's what I decided to go live. And I think I had around 500 subscribers when I started. I was not monetized.
Right.
And then I would get more subscribers as I went along, and it grew. And now I'm at about 4,200 subscribers.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
That is.
So I'm going live 5 or 6 times a week. It's probably too much, but I only go on for like an hour.
You're only an hour. Yeah. It's not like when I go on and it's at least 2 hours and usually more.
Yeah. I mean, although people lately have been like, don't go. So I'll stay on for a few more minutes, but I know if I have my little hour carved out, then I'm done, and then I can go back to whatever. And I try and rotate projects. I usually have about 5 or 6 projects going at a time. So you see something different each time. I know Camille works through a project, so you see the progress of it when she does her lives. Like she was working on her dad's blanket, and you would see she would do a stripe of one color and then a stripe of another color. So it was interesting, and she would know the patterns, so she could talk and stuff. I find that I have to do simple patterns, like corner to corner. I got 2 of those going right now because I can do that pattern easily.
Right. So. Right. It's really just once you're at the width, paying attention to your decrease, and that's it. Like, honestly, that is the only tricky part, in my opinion, of C2C. If you're not doing color work, work's a whole adventure in corner to corner. But
I've never attempted that. I just get color changing yarn.
Exactly.
Usually what I use. I'll use either Premier Puzzle or I'll use Karen Colorama Halo for my corner to corners.
Love both of those for nice warm blankets, honestly.
Yeah, and I crochet for Project Linus. I've talked about that in my lives. From what I understand in talking to one of my viewers in the chat, each region can be different in what size of blankets they ask for. Her coordinator has a specific size that only that size is used in that area. My coordinator here in Syracuse says anything from a 36 by 36 up to a 40 by 60.
Oh, wow.
So there's various sizes for different size kids. And we have a children's hospital here and also labor and delivery. And she works with other charities as well. Like there's one called Sleep in Heavenly Peace that makes beds for children. They provide a bed frame, mattress, and all the sheets and blankets to go with it and the pillows. And she's worked with them before. So she'll go where the need is that month and distribute the blankets that way. And she has contacts with each of these organizations, and they'll say, yeah, we need 50 blankets this month, or we need 100 blankets over the next couple months or something along those lines.
Do you have an estimate how many you make in a year?
Last year, I think I made 51 blankets, but keeping in mind, I mainly use Bernat blanket.
Right.
So It's very thick.
Yep.
It's a super bulky. I'm using an 8mm to a 10, sometimes
Right.
even a 12mm hook. And then at least half of those were baby blankets that only use 2 skeins at a time.
Right.
Of Bernat blankets. So this year, I know I'm up over into the high 50s. I don't know exactly how many, but I try and document them on Ravelry. I'm under Knitter CNY there because I was there long before I was ever on YouTube.
Right.
And
I need to do a Ravelry thing. I don't have a Ravelry presence, but it would be nice for the graphs I've created to at a minimum to put that out there.
Yeah, it's really nice because I can go, what pattern did I use, and kind of narrow it down.
Yeah, that too.
If I link to a pattern, I can find it again. Right. The other thing I can do is it has a pattern library. So if you buy a pattern, like Barocco had a free pattern for Small Business Weekend this weekend, and they sent me a code in their email. So now I've downloaded a knit Henley top.
Nice. So you a lot of times knit wearables, but you don't knit blankets, right?
I've knit one blanket, and it was with Karen's Spice Cakes, which is a super bulky, and Lion Brand Impressions, Mandala Impressions, which was a bulky. And I did them together with, I can't even remember what size knitting needle it was, but it was like maybe 20mm or something like that. So they were huge, 25mm maybe.
Right. So like a needle like this. This is a 25mm, but that would be a 25mm. Or sorry, this is a hook. You had needles like that, so it'd be like that.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm making a teenager a blanket where it doesn't have to be, I don't have to be concerned of, are there holes in the blankets where the baby's fingers can get through or something like that.
Right. Right. And it's just the little holes that you have to worry about with the babies, like where they could get them tangled or whatever. But
yeah. One of my go-to patterns that I use is a ripple blanket. I have one that I was working on before we started talking.
Yes, the beautiful splashy colors.
Yeah. This is a Lion Brand yarn that they just came out with a Cover Story favorite blanket.
I love Cover Story because it's so much yarn in one cake.
Yeah, this is like a 223 yard put up. And it's a little thinner than Bernat blanket is.
Yeah,
like my blankets come out a little thinner, not as wide. That's what I mean. But it's a Yarnspirations ripple blanket pattern that I always use because I've memorized the pattern. It's simple single crochet in the back loop, and it's your traditional. You skip 2 at the bottom, you put 3 stitches in the top, and you do 6 down and 6 up. So it's pretty simple to do. Yeah. So the most I have to do is count to 6 when I'm on the air.
And that's the kind of pattern you're going to want to use when you're doing live, so you don't have to think about it.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I mean, the other ones I've done are like granny squares. And I've done the corner to corners a lot for baby blankets. I've done basket weave for older kids.
Oh yeah, that one I got that. It was a Yarnspirations pattern too, right?
Yes.
I got that printed pattern in my Mary Maxim surprise pack. It was one. Oh, really? I recognized it from you doing it. I'm like, this has got to be the one she used because it was like 3 rows. It was like 3 and not like just the little tiny basket weaves. It was like a big basket weave, right?
Yeah, I think it's like 5 stitches by 4. Is it 5? Okay. 5 stitches by 4 rows or something like that. But next time I do it, I'm going to use a 12mm hook.
Do you ever use the little hooks or not really?
I'm using an H hook on a blanket right now that's out of the Granny All-in-One. I made 4 squares out of the Granny All-in-One red heart, and then I put them together, sewed them together, so it made a square. And then I'm just going around and around with just Granny stitch all the way around because I was like, I'm not making another one of these damn squares.
That's how I feel about squares. I'm trying to find a 5 point. Well, that's a 6mm, but you can see that it would be a little bit smaller than this an H hook, right? Because this is a J. So I'm learning some of them. The ones I use fairly frequently. The H is a 5mm, right?
Yeah. And
I use H, I, K, 25, 15, 12, whatever I need to.
Like I had to go out a couple of weeks ago, well, maybe a month ago, and buy an 11.5mm hook.
It never comes in the sets.
I mean, I had a plastic one at home, but my hands started cramping up on it. So I'm like, okay, I got to go to Michael's and buy a loops and threads one. And it was really nice. Yeah. For like $12.
I have to do that if I'm going to use like the metal hooks or the small hooks, these little foam things.
Oh, okay.
But I know I have that set sitting here somewhere. But it comes in a set of, I think, 5 or 6, and they have different size holes. And the only reason that I'm using a big hole is because that does actually have a handle, but it's still not big enough for me.
Yeah.
Handle-wise. But wait, what size is this? It's tiny. This is 1.1mm.
Wow. So that'd be like the thread.
Thread. Yep. Yep. But I can't, like, if I didn't have that on there, I just know my hand would cramp up.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah. And I use Prim ergonomic hooks pretty exclusively, but I've used Boy hooks and Boy ergonomic hooks and Clover soft touch hooks too.
Yeah, so. I like this Prim hook pretty well.
Yeah.
But I have a bunch of the furls that have been gifted. I did just bid on a bunch in auction. And so I'm actually purchasing some for a change.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about the furls. I tried the Odyssey one time. I was at a knitter crochet out kind of thing out in the lawn of their local science museum. And there was a crocheter there and she had an Odyssey hook and I said, can I try it? And she's like, sure, here, try it. And I was like, this is just way too heavy for me. I don't know why.
So I like the wood ones. I don't have my wood one up here, but this one's a bamboo, but imagine that in furls and it's so light. So every one that I just purchased is a wood one.
Yeah. I gave a couple of wood ones to my friend for her birthday over the summer. And then, because they were on sale, you know, for a really good price. And then they just had a sale a little while ago and I got her a pride hook.
Oh, nice.
Because it was on sale for like $8.75 or something.
Oh, nice. See,
so I got her a size she didn't have. And I was like, yeah, if you drop it on the floor, it's going to break. So be careful with it.
Right. Right. So that's right. The resin. I have carpet. I've been lucky. I have dropped my resin ones a few times, but I've been lucky. I would be worried about my 4.5 the most just because it's the thinnest neck and all that. But I've been lucky so far. But I like the resin ones are heavy and the metal ones are super heavy. I don't know if you've ever felt one of those. Holy moly.
No, I haven't.
It's at least double the weight of the resin. Wow. At least. Yeah, so heavy. Like to me, but apparently some people like that is what works for them. I'm like, okay, whatever works for you. That's our philosophy in crochet and knitting, right? Whatever works for you, just make it work.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a carpenter with a hammer. The hammer that works for one carpenter is not going to work for the other carpenter.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, so
just like so many people can't use the big yarns.
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, I get people who are like, how can you work with that? It's so big. And then I'm like, yeah, but I got to get the donations out. And I happen to have bought a lot of this yarn. I mean, my house I have a 3-bedroom house ranch. My dining room is full of yarn. My living room has a little yarn peeking into it. My spare bedroom has yarn. My bedroom has a double closet with the doors off with yarn in. But the blanket yarn takes up a lot of space. So I'm hopeful.
It really does.
I'm hopeful that, you know, over the next year or two, if I restrict myself from buying new yarn, unless it's for something on the channel that I want to show, I'm giving myself that out, you know, you know, because people do want to see new yarns occasionally, you know, and, you know, if something comes out and I really, really want that yarn, I'm not going to restrict myself and say, no, I can never buy that. You know, I'm just saying that for the majority of what I'm going to be doing, I'd like to use the yarn I already have.
Work your stash. Yeah, absolutely. And, I sent Mindi some yarn. It was the extra thick, so it was a jumbo 7, right?
Yep. And you sent me yellow and white in there. And then I bought a couple skeins of purple to go along with it because I figure I'm doing a V-stitch blanket with it. And I forget what size hook I'm using. I want to say I'm using a 15mm hook.
Okay.
For it.
Oh, yeah. I would use at least a 15, me personally, but yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to be able to make a blanket. And it's going to be more like a decorative kind of blanket than an actual functional blanket. I mean, it'll be warm, but it's got bigger spaces in it.
It'll be holy.
It'll be holy. Yeah. But it'll be pretty. And it'll be something that somebody says, yeah, I want that blanket because I want a blanket to take the chill off in the summer, you know, or something along those lines.
Okay, right.
You know, that's what I'm thinking. You know,
or maybe, it definitely sounds like early fall kind of to me too.
Yeah.
Because it's fine during the day and then it's chilly at night.
Yeah. Or something that is a security blanket for a sick kid in the hospital.
Right.
You know, where maybe, it's something tactile, you know, because a lot of times they're putting an IV in and you're squeezing something so that you don't feel the pain of that, or they're using a pick line on you or something.
Right.
You know, that's how I envision things.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom had cancer about 20 years ago and passed away. So she had a line that was in to administer stuff. So I know that medical stuff is painful when they put it in and take it out, change things, and, you know, all of that rigmarole.
Right. Right. My sister had a pick line, but it was for something different. And it was very temporary, but I remember her talking about how unpleasant it was when they put it in, and then it took a while to heal up after they took it out. And
so I mean, I always think of when I give a donation blanket, I'm giving a little part of myself.
Absolutely.
To somebody else. Yeah,
it's your way of giving them just some love from outside their normal sphere.
Yeah.
Right. Just that's I love to to give things. Like it's a little different. I do donations too, but not as often. But I like to give to people that have a need.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like Camille doing that for the DV shelter. You know, that was personal to her. You know, and doing that project was very important to her. And it was good to see it when it got all done. And she was like, wow, I'm done with it.
It was so pretty too. It's so pretty.
Gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. I need to do my mind for the Archway for sure. I just haven't done it yet, but I have it in my head what I want to do. So it's just probably going to have to wait until after, but I don't know if I've ever seen this specific stitch combination done. So we'll see.
Cool.
See if I can get it to work, because that's been my challenge, because I'm doing the Battle of the Stitches and using the turtle stitch, which I didn't even know what the turtle stitch was.
Oh, wow.
It's sort of a shell stitch, but not exactly. And part of the deal with Battle of the Stitches is you have to design. And so I've known I was doing January for a long time, and I came up with one thing and I'm like, this isn't enough. I want to do this, but I couldn't figure out how to put the two things together. I was trying to do a circle and like it's a weird stitch count. So I couldn't quite get it to work. And so I even watched one lady where she's like, if you want to make it look right, then you do this in this section, because it comes out wrong on some rows or something, like the wrong stitch count because of how it's done. But it wasn't the turtle stitch. Again, I never heard of the turtle stitch. And my friend just got me a book. It's not the same book, but where did I put that? Here it is. This is my first ever stitch book.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So, so I'm looking forward, and I have already seen lots of things. Plus, it shows the charts. Okay. So I won't show too much since it's a book. But it's got the charts in there, so I can learn. But the turtle stitch isn't listed in here, so I have to go off of what Teresa and Lexie both sent me pictures. So, but anyway, designing is a whole different thing. And again, I'm not likely to design as a donation unless I'm giving it to someone like as that I know or whatever. But yeah.
But you are just so creative. I love seeing the different things that people come up with, like your cow blanket. I never would have thought of doing that. You know, that's what I think of.
And that was pretty easy. As far as corner to corner color work, that one was pretty easy. That one's doable. You could almost do that one live as long as you had the graph in front of you.
And
then my Halloweeny. Oh, not that one. I always have to do this. I get turned around. And my Halloween. And then my Decade Divas doll sitting up there.
Okay. Cool.
But I have to mix it up. This baby blanket I'm doing now, the one I started, I mean, it's an amazing pattern. But because I was adjusting the size, oh my God, stitch counts were killing me. So I ended up, I'm going to mix 3 different patterns together, because that's how I do as well. And now I'm flying through.
Really?
Yeah, I think I have 10 or 11, maybe even 12 more rows to do, and then an edge, and then I'm done. So, and I was stalled out. I've been stalled out for like 2 months.
Oh, wow.
I was just so like, I can't figure out these stitch counts. And I said something about, I think I'm going to frog this. And somebody said, no, don't frog it. Just change the pattern. And I'm like, oh, thank you. You just saved me all that work, because I did like it.
Yeah. I mean, when you get done with it, nobody's going to know that you cobbled 3 patterns together. They're just going to go, oh, that's pretty.
Right. The person that receives and what I ended up coming up with is, well, part of it's just vintage crochet. I don't know if you ever do the Crafting Kitty creator spotlights. Probably not, especially not live, right? Because they do patterns to you, but it's just vintage crochet. But not all of her patterns are vintage. This particular one I pulled a chunk of is actually a scarf pattern.
Okay.
And I just added that section because then I can submit that piece to Crafting Kitties, just vintage.
Oh, nice.
And I like that because I get to learn about new content creators or designers, I guess. But I'm really bad about following other people's directions. I never last long doing it. I follow Camille's pretty well, but
like I come up with, somebody that works with blanket yarn, and I'll follow them. Like A More Crafty Life is one that I follow, and there's another person who's a YouTuber called Pretty Peaceful that did some stuff with Colorama Healex a few years ago. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can try this and see how it works.
Right.
And when I do a pattern like that, I try and reference back to them, because I feel like if their video, you should reference back to them. I mean, the ripple blanket I've done so often, people just know that that's the blanket that I do. And I always am like, here's how you find it. Google this.
Right.
And so the other thing that I'm doing for knitting is I'm doing an off-camera thing for my friend for Christmas. She also knits and crochets. She learned to knit and crochet about 15 years ago when she was pregnant with her daughter. Her daughter just turned 14, is going to turn 14 next week. Okay. And she was borrowing yarn. There was a local library that had a yarn stash and said, anybody who is doing charity work, you can just borrow the yarn and have it and do charity projects with it and just bring the projects back to us, I guess was how it went.
Okay.
And then one of the women who was donating some yarn to it found out that she was doing these charity projects and said, my grandmother passed away. Would you like her stash? And of course, my friend was like, sure. What's she going to say? No. So
are we ever going to say no to yarn?
Yeah. I mean, so she had all this yarn. And then a few years ago, there was a former yarn shop owner from maybe an hour and a half away who passed away. And they sold the contents of the store at auction. So we went to auction and bought yarn there too. So she had all this stash yarn, and she's like, mostly I use blanket yarn now. And she's like, what am I going to do with all this stuff? Maybe I should just give my stash away, and just use blanket yarn. And I'm like, one night I called her and said, how about I make you a sweater out of some of your stash yarn for Christmas? So she's always wanted to make a pattern called Hey Teach from knitting that is a short sleeved. It's got like short sleeves. And then there's a lace pattern in the top and an empire waistline. Think like Bridgerton kind of dress kind of thing. And then stockinette, which is the smooth plain knit on one side, purl on the other side for the bottom of it. And I was like, so I've gotten most of the way through the back. I've got to get through the lace part on the back because you do it in pieces and then sew it together. But I'm making that for Christmas. And then she brought me some of her stash yarn and traded for some of my Bernat blanket yarn because she was making a blanket for somebody for Christmas. So it worked out. She's like, if she needs blanket yarn, she'll just call me and be like, can I come over and get something out of your yarn hoard? I'm like, yeah. I was spending my money on yarn instead.
Yep.
Apparently spent a lot of money on yarn. I don't know how much I've spent, but now I got all this yarn and I got to use it. So you're going to be seeing a lot of blanket yarn on the channel this year.
Yes. You'll be on a yarn buying diet is what we'll call it.
Yes, exactly.
Not a no yarn buying, but a mostly no yarn buying.
And I have plans for it. I'm going to make it a regular feature of the podcast. Like once a month, I'm going to hold myself accountable. I got some 2-gallon Ziploc hefty bags or whatever, and I'm going to save my yarn labels and put them in there. And then once a month, I'm going to pull out, okay, I made this blanket. Here's all the labels. Here's how many skeins of yarn I've used.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep track somehow. Whether that I put a piece of paper on the wall and just write down how many skeins of yarn I used. And at the end of the year, we go, oh, she used 100 skeins of yarn.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Crafting Kitty's doing that. She's like doing a thing where she puts a sticker when she's like used all the.
Yeah, I saw that the old potty training stickers.
Yes, her old potty training stickers, right? Exactly.
I was like, that is genius.
Yes, right. I think it is too. I think I'll try to do that next year.
Okay.
But to keep track because I'm really bad about keeping track. But before another yarn gave me a bunch of more yarn, I was actually working through my stash pretty decently. But then when I give it away or use it, it comes right back to me.
That's the way it goes sometimes. My friend that I'm making the baby blanket for, he's giving it to his cousin. He wants to pay for it, which is ridiculous. But I'm like, okay, if you want to pay me for it, I got no problem with that. I'm just going to charge you what I use for the yarn.
The cost. Yes, that's what I do a lot of times. Yeah.
The cost of the yarn. And he had taken an angel off the Christmas tree for Mass. And it was providing a gift for a child for Christmas. And he said, I thought of you immediately because I saw this little girl or this teenage girl wanted yarn for crocheting. Nice. And I was like, we're not going to Walmart or Hobby Lobby and buying yarn. I said, I'm going to pull out yarns out of my stash.
Right.
You give me like $25. We'll call it even.
Right.
And I got like a grocery sack full of yarn, that would normally cost probably $40 to $50.
Right.
And he did it because, it's not me buying the gift, it's him buying the gift, but I felt like I needed to help a little bit.
But I agree. Why give that to somebody else when you've got it?
Yeah, exactly. And, I said to him, he said, well, what are those things you use? I'm like, hooks, crochet hooks. He's like, yeah, those, this is how much he doesn't know.
Right.
And I was like texting him, okay, buy her an H, 5 millimeter, I, 5.5, J, 6 millimeter. This is what you buy at Hobby Lobby or wherever, Michael's, wherever you're going to go to buy them.
That has those middle sizes.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the big ones, but the middle sizes.
Because what I gave her was all worsted weight. Like I gave her
perfect.
Like some big twist. I even found big twist holiday yarn that I had from last year.
And
like a big red big twist pounder skein, and some Bernat crushed velvet yarn because I thought that'd be interesting for her to work with, and it's yarn that I'm never going to use to make a blanket.
Right.
But it would make a lovely wearable, like it would make a beautiful shawl or something like that.
Right.
So,
That's awesome.
I mean, those are the kind of things where you get a connection with somebody and you can do something, you know, and I get ideas from other people too. You know,
Right.
like I'll bounce around YouTube. I get ideas from the audience.
Right.
You know, somebody this morning was like, how do you do a magic circle? And I'm like, here's some leftover blanket yarn. I'm going to show you, you know, how
Right.
I do a magic circle. And they were like, yeah, it's really cool. And they were like in another country, I think.
Right.
I
I
forget it.
feel like the morning people are on Saturdays, especially.
Yeah. And over 15 years ago, because I've been on YouTube for 13 years.
Oh, okay.
But I had a very, very small following until like this last year.
Right.
Because I never thought about getting monetized or anything like that.
Right. Right.
And it was actually my goddaughter that said to me, you could do this. You know, when she was about 10 years old, she was like, I got to take pictures of you. You need better pictures for your profile. Or you need, you know, and I remember this. She, like I said, she's turning 14 next week. She stood up on a couch because she's short.
Right.
And she's like, it's more inspirational if I stand up on the couch.
Yeah.
And she's like, you can do this. You can totally do this.
That's
you know,
so sweet.
you've got the knowledge and you know what you're doing and you can totally do this. And until then, it was kind of just me and my phone and not really thinking about it. And I was like, I can do this. And in the last year, I got brave enough to do the lives.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 8 months that I've been doing. So
it changed everything for you.
Yeah. Like I'm going to get my first payout of $100 in December. I'm not getting rich on YouTube, you know, obviously.
Right.
You know, I'm getting ad revenue and some super chats and things like that. Yeah.
Maybe down the road.
So, I mean, it just proves anybody anywhere, if you got a skill, you can share it and somebody out there wants to see it. I mean, I describe it to people at work and they're like, you do what? I'm like, yeah, I crochet and people sit there and watch me crochet and talk to me. And they're like, really? I'm like, I'm like, people will watch what they want to watch. And there's something about the repetitive motion of it, I think, that is relaxing for people. You know, that I'm doing the same thing. And it's like, like you said, I run a pretty chill channel. And just, you know, and I like watching your videos because you always have a story. It's something that's relatable, you know, and then you go into what you're working on or something like that. But it's always, you know what you're going to get. It's a story and crochet. That's your thing.
Yeah.
I like it.
You see, you can count on stories. And even when I start with, I'm not sure what story I'm going to tell, a story will happen.
Yeah.
Yes. It's been so lovely to meet people that in no other way would we have met each other. Like
it's exactly,
our paths could not have crossed naturally, so to speak. It just, no, I'm in Colorado. She's in New York. It's New York State. It's like a whole different, we live in different worlds in the same country in a lot of ways.
Yep. Like I'm single. I live by myself. I go to work. I come home. I crochet.
Yeah.
You know, or I knit.
A lot more crocheting done if that was my life.
You know, I mean, 2 years ago, my father passed away, but before that, he was in the nursing home for about 10 years. Before that, I was a caregiver at night when I came home from work. So I wasn't able to crochet as much.
That's, because that is full time. That's 24/7 ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, and when he went into the nursing home, crochet was the kind of thing that kept me anchored. I would bring the project with me. And when he was in the process of passing away, that was the thing that anchored me.
Yeah.
You know, I could bring a crochet project with me. And if he was feeling well and was sleeping, I could crochet away. You know, he was able to make end of life decisions himself.
Yes.
So that was really good.
Too. And that's helpful.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of my little, I kid that it's yarn therapy, but I have a BA in psychology.
Oh, so it actually is.
So it is actually therapy for me.
Yes.
You know, I may not go to a therapist to talk about my problems, but maybe I talk about them a little bit with my audience, you know, a little bit of, hey, this is what's going on in my life. You know, hey, I went out to dinner with a friend or whatever.
Or your friend was late or never showed up.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, the little annoyances of life that are big in my world, but they're small, really. They're small things, really. And you have to give people a pass sometimes, you know, just because of the way it goes.
Yes.
You know, so that's pretty much all me.
Yes. Now, you don't have an actual like sign off or anything, right? Or do you?
No, I usually just say, I'm going to wrap it up now. I'll see you next time. I used to say when I was doing recordings more often, I would say, make sure you craft something this week. It's good for your mental health.
Oh, I love that.
You know, because it is good for your mental health. It gives you a break. It's like a meditation, you know, to some people. I think, like I said, that rhythmic repeating of a stitch is very meditative, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I love that. Okay. So, I'm going to let Mindi say that again so we all get that.
Yeah. Go craft something this week. It's good for your mental health.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
And hugs to you all.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindi.